Hi. I'm just going to jump right in today. I am, just about an hour late, and that's a whole nother story. But this is part two of 100 things I've learned in the last 10 years. And as I mentioned in part one, there's 100 things. That takes a lot of time. So the first time I did it, the sound was terrible, and that's why I'm recording it. So last week I did, as a little recap, I didn't know that I was a collector. You know what? I'm not going to recap it. You can go watch part one if you'd like to know what the first 35 things I've learned are. I'm starting at 36, which is to question without criticism. Questioning without criticism is sometimes difficult because when we ask questions, we tend to sound like we are judging someone. So I've learned to either change my tone or change the question so that I'm not judging someone when I ask the question. Because sometimes when we get asked, when we are questioned, it really does feel like criticism. So I've tried very hard to remove that from my vocabulary. Number 36 is be open to the unexpected. And wow, I'm not very open or receptive to the unexpected that happened today. I was supposed to be going to New York for Christmas, and as I'm doing this on December 21st of 2021, I was supposed to be heading to New York for Christmas tomorrow, and COVID has reared its ugly head once again, and things are shutting down everywhere in the world, and there are now advisories against travel, etc. So my being open to the unexpected, while I knew it was a possibility, I was really hoping it wouldn't be. So be open to the unexpected. Life is what I make it. Right behind that, I can either wallow in self-pity and anger and frustration, or I can choose to accept the situation for what it is after a brief period of wallowing in anger and frustration, maybe even a few tears. And I will live on. I will get to go again. I will get to see my kids again. I can either accept what is happening right now, or I can choose to be miserable, and I choose not to be miserable. So life is what I make it is number 38. 39. I've learned to live comfortably with little. I'm definitely not a minimalist by any stretch of the imagination, but I've really been paying attention to what I actually use in my house and what I actually am in need of. And what I actually use and am in need of is so very, very little. It is amazing. And realistically, if I needed to move into a studio apartment, I think I would be able to live quite comfortably doing that. So I've learned to live comfortably with little. Number 40. I've learned to do what I set my mind to. Now, when I wrote that, I think I probably had something else in mind. But what that means to me now is I've kind of learned to set a plan and stick to that plan. And I've learned that I tell a pretty good story. And I didn't know that before. I didn't know I was a good storyteller. I didn't even know I had a story to tell. And that is the next one, which I learned I had a story to tell. I have heard people tell their stories about terrible devastation, So they've lost their home, they've lost all their family, they've lost my life, or they've had to endure horrible, awful, mind crippling things, and they've survived. And I didn't have that. My life has always been reasonably comfortable, even though I've been unhappy for most of it. So I actually learned I do have a story that can inspire other people, which is absolutely amazing to me. And number 43 is I am stronger than I ever knew. So the things I have gone through have made me realize that I am stronger than I realize. Number 44, I've learned what safety feels like, which may sound funny, but if you've never ever felt safe, if you've never ever paid attention to how you feel, and I've never ever felt safe, when I finally felt safe, it's like, oh, that's what that feels like. So I've actually learned what safety feels like. Now I have something to refer to, which is really cool. I've learned that what I do is valued by others, which again is a big revelation for me. I've also learned that what I do is needed by others. It's not just valued, but it's needed. And number 47 is very few people do what's best for others first. And that doesn't mean people are selfish. It just means that very few people put other people ahead of themselves. Most people do what's best for themselves first and then go, oh yeah, maybe I should think about whoever. Number 48, I've learned that I cannot live without laughter. Now I can, and I have. I don't want to. I don't want to live without laughter. I don't care how dire the situation is anymore. No, excuse me. I need laughter in my life. So I'm going to find humor in whatever it is somewhere. Now, of course, being respectful to the people who are in the situation, if it's not a humorous one. But I'm going to find humor. Laughter is a necessity for me. Laughter makes me feel good. I need laughter. I live better with laughter. Music is the other thing I have decided I am not going to live without. I have learned that music fills my soul. Music, again, makes me feel good. So it's not something I'm going to live without. It's not something I'm going to remove from my life. I'm going to make a conscious effort to ensure that music is included. And I've also learned that laughter is contagious. Now, while I may have known that before, it's not something that was really at the forefront of my mind. I never ever thought that if I start laughing, someone else may start laughing too. Now I know that for sure. I know laughter is contagious. And if you consider that laughter is contagious, every emotion that we have is actually contagious. So if you want to spread something, and when we emote our emotions, we are spreading our emotions. We do it every single day, whether we like it or not. We are energetic beings. If you're going to spread something, isn't laughter and joy the thing to be spreading? So laughter is contagious. That is number 50. What a great way to be at the halfway mark. So I just mentioned fear is also contagious. Every emotion we have is contagious. Every emotion we emote, every emotion we put out. And when we feel, we put out. It's just a matter of who's feeling us. So, number 52, take personal responsibility. And part of that is for your emotions as well. And recognizing that what you put out, someone else could be catching. I've learned that my love language is acts of service. So we tend to give love the way we want to receive love. So if you're not sure what your love language is, please check out the 5 Love Languages book. And you can even just figure out what makes you feel loved to find out what your love language is. Whether it's gifts, acts of service, I'm not even going to be able to remember the 5 of them right now. My head is swimming in all the information that has been poured in there and the emotions that I'm feeling about not being able to go on my trip. But my love language is acts of service. And for me, showing love is doing something for someone else. So receiving love, for me, if you do something for me, I will feel loved. And I've learned that it's not just my love language that matters, it's making the other person feel loved, giving them how their love language works. Number 54 is we give back what we want back. And I just explained that with the love language. I give acts of service because that's what I want. I don't give gifts because that's what I don't want. So we give what we want back. And once I realized that, with the emotions as well, I started being very careful as to what I was giving out because I didn't want it back. I didn't want anger back. I didn't want frustration back. I didn't want fear back. So I tend not to give those things out. Number 55 is I have learned how to say no. There were many, many, many years that I didn't know how to say no. I didn't know that it was okay to say no. I didn't know that I even could say no because I pretty much did whatever everyone else wanted. I was extremely compliant. So I've learned how to say no. I've also learned when to say yes. Because there are times when you feel like saying no, but you should say yes. And likewise, there are times when you are feeling like you really want to say yes, but you really should be saying no. I've learned that the news, watching the news, being immersed in world events, it's not good for me. Messes with my energy. I suck up every bad thing that's going on and it affects me emotionally. So watching the news is not good for me. Knowing that it's not good for me, you should take a look at whether or not it might not be good for you either. Immersing yourself in things that are designed specifically to make us afraid, so we keep watching, it's not necessarily something that's good for you. I've learned I'm too responsible. So I started having a little bit more fun and letting go of some of the unnecessary responsibilities. Number 59, I've learned to be alone, which is another whole story in itself. And because I said this is already too long, we're not going to go into it. Maybe in a future broadcast. I've learned to set boundaries. We're at number 60 now. And I spoke about that earlier in part 1. I've learned to speak with kindness. Now, I tend to be a little blunt, is what people would say. Some people call it rude. I tend to speak plainly. I don't beat around the bush. But because I am that way, I have tempered how I give it, how I no, the word is eluding me today. I've tempered how it is given. It's the only word I can come up with. It's not the word I'm looking for though, and that's okay. I have learned to listen intentionally. And that may sound funny to some, but generally we listen in order to respond. But I've learned to listen so that I am hearing what it is someone is saying. And that's different than listening to respond. Number 63, I've learned to trust myself, which again, is not something I did for many, many years. I've learned that I have good instincts. I've learned that I do make and can make good decisions. So I've learned to trust myself. I've also learned what is important. And the more I learn, the more I recognize there is to learn. I'm not sure I will ever feel like I have learned enough to be what they say is an expert. Now, I am considered to be an expert in my field, and I do know a lot, but I don't know everything. No one knows everything. So we're at 66. I have learned to love myself first to be able to love someone else. I've learned you cannot give what you do not have. So if you do not love yourself, loving someone else could be difficult. I've learned that I have a love-hate relationship with technology. I always thought I really loved technology. And I do love technology. Technology is what is enabling me to do this right now. And I think that is phenomenal. Technology is what's going to enable me to see my daughter and her husband on Christmas Day. Technology has enabled us to keep in contact with the outside world while we are in quarantine, lockdown, whatever you want to call it, while we are in isolation, while COVID is running rampant around the world. Technology is what has been keeping us connected. But technology is extremely frustrated. I'm extremely frustrated with technology. It's an extremely frustrating thing for me. So I have this love-hate relationship with it. It's not just one, it's both. I have learned that I am a medium. This is something new for me in the last 10 years. This is not something I would have ever thought I would be doing. I've learned that I'm a healer. Again, new in the last 10 years, not something I was looking for, not something I was excited to have. Am I excited I can? Yes. But it's not something I was yearning for. So that's number 69. We're going to do the last 30 in part 3. Let me just check. Nope, might as well do number 70. We'll end on number 70 because that is that I am an intuitive, and that goes along with being a medium and being a healer. The things I have learned and experienced in the last 10 to 13 years have literally changed my life. And that is a phenomenal thing. And as I have accepted it, as I've accepted those things, and quit fighting against them, my whole life has smoothed out. So my biggest lesson there is whether or not you're looking for it, whether or not you wanted it, whether or not you think it's a good thing, if it has come to you, check it out. Check it out. It might be exactly what you need. And on that note, I am going to say enough for today. We'll start at number 71 in part 3. For those of you who do not know me, I am Sandra with Ever Changing Life. This is my second last broadcast on Facebook, and at the beginning of January 2022, I will be moving to my lives to YouTube, and I have put that link in the note section of this broadcast. Thank you so much for joining me today. And if you're watching this on replay, just put replay in the comment section. If you would like the notes for this particular session, you will get the notes. You will get my list of 100 things, regardless of which session you ask for the notes from, whether it be part 1, part 2, part 3. No matter where you are in the world, no matter what time of day it is, I do hope you have the most amazing day. Thanks for joining me.